Not doing that anymore, old man. We're not staying at home any longer. Welcome to the Whitfield Report impromptu Thursday slash Friday stream, as it were. I uh, I would have done the show on Wednesday actually, as I usually do for the audio podcast, but we actually had a pretty big tropical storm here on Wednesday, and it knocked the power out from about 3:30 p.m. to 3 a.m. Uh, Thursday morning. So uh, I I essentially lost like a whole afternoon of productivity and stuff for school on Wednesday, so I had to catch up with that. And to be honest, folks, one of the reasons I haven't been around as much on like social media and whatnot, or the podcast, really, is because I've actually been really busy with school this semester, and in particular, this one class project that I have to do. And I have a good grade in the class, but this is one of those stupid projects that essentially makes or breaks your grade. And if you do well on it, uh, you know, good. But if you fuck up on it, you could, even if you have like an A, it's one of those things that can, really, you know, you might flunk the class, which, obviously I don't want to have happen. And yeah, Scorpio, I do agree that, you know, school is for chumps and college is kind of for chumps. Thank God I'm in my senior year, and I'm getting my technical communications degree, which is actually useful. But I mean, fuck me. Why did my senior year have to fall, on the year when they were going to lock everyone down and whatnot? So, this time next year, because it takes me a little longer to get through school, I should be graduated and done. But in the meantime, I am trying to kind of hold my head above water. So, don't worry, I haven't been dead. Uh, I've just been stressed and kind of wishing I were dead because of all the projects and whatnot. And so, on top of the anxiety I've had with school and whatnot, the election, which I guess was last week now, maybe, nah. I mean, it feels like it was only a week ago, but this month is already flying by. Um, Between the election and having to submit like part two of this project, like my anxiety between the election and between school, it wasn't that I wanted to talk at the election last week because I did. I was just not in a good, kind of headspace to talk about the election because of the anxiety of Biden potentially becoming our president, and the election fraud, and then all the other stuff I've had to deal with IRL, like I mentioned. I didn't want to spiral online, so uh, Apex Gamma wasn't going to be on the show last week anyway. He had a personal thing to do, so I decided to take Saturday off as well. I did go on Versa News Media and their channel and contribute over there, but yeah, I was just not in the mood to host, more like be a guest, so that's what I did. And it worked out because I guess Semper Bear, or no, not Semper Bear, Semper Reloaded. Sorry about that, Semper. Um, did a pretty good stream on, kind of getting out of the election funk, so I watched that, and that helped out a bit. And so that's what I did last weekend. But long story short, folks, like I said, I'm not dead. I I've just been busy. I've just been swamped. Um, I'm gonna try and put out an episode this weekend uh, with more in-depth election stuff. Maybe getting into some of the stuff a little more. I'm sure that Apex and I will have stuff to talk about. And also, E Scorpio and I will be doing the Gamma Hug Box tonight. And he's about to, I know he's going to interview his, uh, I know he's going to air his interview with Brandon Crick, the comedian who was physically assaulted by Owen Benjamin a few years ago on his channel in about like an hour or so. So I'll try and keep this quick. But, long story short, I just want to let you guys know that I have been around and that I'm not dead yet, although, some days, like I said, it kind of feels like, I might as well be dead. But, anyway, um, and I'm partially joking about that too. I'm not suicidal or anything. So anyone reading into that, I'm fine. Just like I said, the stresses of life. But anyway, like I was saying, one thing I've realized since the you know, real one thing I've realized pretty much since the beginning of 2020 is that and I've talked about this a little bit before, but one of the things I've realized is that, you now after the election, you hear a lot of these, politigrifters on both the left and the right, talking like what about what's next for them. Some people seem so, unconsolable uh, about Biden potentially becoming president of the United States that they're bailing, from, or, they're thinking of like moving on to another thing, perhaps because of that, um, maybe quitting their own show or doing that. Um, I guess some of the left wing grifters are still so filled with Trump derangement syndrome, like Keith Olbermann is, that they're going to continue to keep talking out about the evil orange bad man even after he leaves office, allegedly. Although I don't think he will. I don't think he will leave the. I don't think Trump will leave the White House. I think he'll be president at the end of all this. But I'll get to that in a bit. But long story short, a lot of people online are like, have been asking me, so, are you gonna quit your show now, Sam? That Trump is no longer president. And to those people, all I have to say is, bitch, I started podcasting. I started this show, or the first iteration of this show, when I was a teenager, way back when Obama was elected president the first time. You think I'm adverse to operating, during Democrat presidencies? You've got another thing coming. I'm not going away of my own volition anytime soon. Um, I'm still sticking around because my podcast and this stream does not depend on the person in the White House aligning of my, within my personal political persuasion. So, as far as that goes, I'm not quitting because of Biden winning. I'm not even really moping because Biden winning. That was the other thing. People thought I banished off social media last week because of the election, and like I said, no, it's just because I've simply been busy and I haven't had time to comment on all this stuff until today, really. But one thing I also realized, and I realized this about 2 years ago, is that while I enjoy talking politics on the Whitfield Report, and while that was the initial, um, impetus for the show when I started it, I'm not necessarily limited to it. There are other things I can talk about, like E. Scorpio mentioned, transition to the Whitfield movie report. I've done that on the stream before. We Scorpio and I do the Gamma Hug Box podcast with uh, Apex Gamma on Fridays, where which is kind of a separate podcast, but since it's on the same channel and the same podcast feed, it's kind of the bonus show where we just talk out internet, you know, personalities and, laugh at e-celeb culture, basically. So that's another thing. And then, I'll get a Storm of Wrenches on, or, and the original DZ crew and John Arcade, and we'll just shoot the shit for 3-4 hours. We haven't done an 8-hour hate stream in a long time, and, I'm probably not going to have time to do one until Christmas or, something like that. But hey, you know, we're still amenable to that. So, the point being is, for me, even though this thing started out being political for me, what I've realized over the past really 2 to 3 years is that I enjoy podcasting or live streaming or just whatever you want to call the medium, talking to you guys and talking with you guys. I enjoy the format way more than I enjoy, politics or any one thing. Those are just topics that I cover, yes, but this, the experience of being able to connect with you guys, whether it be, in chat or on Discord or on Skype or, connecting with you guys on VC and having you guys on the show, this is really what I'm passionate about right here. Even if it's talking to you guys. So, that's going to be my plan for the significant future, is to just let the show, kind of go where it's going to go. And, yeah, this is still going to be a political show, but it's not going to be pigeonholed to that either. So, I'm not going to go away. That there may be times, such as right now, where I'm busy with IRL stuff and not able to broadcast as much, but I will always try and put out a show for you guys, as much as I can. Now, regarding a few things about the election and whatnot, I'm of two minds on this, to be honest. I definitely think that there was voter fraud. And there's no doubt in my mind that Biden may have tried, he probably did try and steal the election. But there is a chance that all the recounts, could come back and it could turn out to be legitimate, like actually legitimate, In which case, if that's the case, then I will, um, I'll be prepared. I'll make sure that I'm locked and loaded and prepared in case the government, in case I actually do get declared like an enemy of the regime. I know I'm already on a list of some sort. I'll prepare and then I'll abide my time. I'm not sure. Let me put it this way. I don't think a boogaloo is something that anyone wants necessarily. It might it might happen inevitably, whether I want it to or not, but I'm not going to be the one starting it. Now, I will tell you this is pretty damn funny to me. But back in 2016, after the election, I had a whole bunch of, not like a ton, but I had a few family members who were liberal, quote unquote, disown me. And they blocked me on Facebook and, Instagram and other social media platforms they had. And they all wrote like this big, long letter about how, they couldn't understand why I, Sam Whitfield, who is so, kind and so nice and so genuine, could vote for such a hateful, bigot, evil, racist, dividing man. Fill in whatever negative adjective you want, for Trump. Basically, they couldn't understand why I voted for Trump, and they didn't feel like they could call me family members anymore, so they disowned me. And I know I'm not alone in that boat. I know that as far as the audio podcast listeners go, I've received, tweets and messages from you guys, so I know that happens to you. I'm sure that has happened to some of the people who are in, the live stream right now, maybe. I don't know, but it's happened to me. And, I'll admit, some of them weren't really like all that surprising because they weren't close. Some of them were a bit shocking and saddening, but at the same time, c'est la vie, I guess. Well, now these same people that disowned me 4 years ago and, haven't, said word one to me since late 2016, early 2017. Now, some of them have like reached out to me and tried to make amends now that the bad orange man is supposedly gone in their eyes. And that's not going to happen. Now, let me tell you guys something. When it comes to my personal Facebook page, I have one for the show, but I also have one, that's like my personal life. That's like my IRL personal one. I don't talk politics on there very much. At all. Unless there's like some major event that other people are talking about. that like I really feel needs to be addressed, I don't talk politics on Facebook. Why? Because in general, it has caused way too much drama because there has always been someone who has gotten hurt feelings by what I say. And it's not really that I care about their hurt feelings. What I care more about is the fact that I say something that's like, that's like quote unquote politically incorrect or something that they don't agree with. And then, as far as family members, they start like, complaining about like how mean I am or about how ignorant I am. They start arguing. Sometimes I'll get like phone calls or, text messages from my, grandparents saying, why you gotta argue with so and so about this, that, or the other thing. So, Facebook drama just causes a whole bunch of drama, so I don't need the aggravation in my life. So, generally, I don't talk politics on Facebook. Um, you know, I rarely post anything on Facebook, period. Um, unless I actually have like a notable event or something to talk about. But with that being said, I've also never unfriended anyone or blocked anyone or canceled anyone from my life on Facebook or in real life. I've never canceled anyone based on political, differences, period. That seems so weird. And so, you know, that seems, it doesn't seem weird to me now because it's more common, but it seemed like it should be weird, but it's not, right? Like you would think that, family members, especially, like my family isn't super dysfunctional, we're semi, tight. You would think that, people would be able to respect each other's opinions and whatnot, but, that's that. So, I've always said that I'm happy that I will never, I'll never disown anyone based solely on, religious or political disagreements. But I've also said, too, that if you disown me, if you cut me off, that's on you. And I'm not going to beg you to come back into my life. Because if you don't feel like I add anything to your life, if you can't, and this same goes for not just family members, but friends too. If you disown me simply based on disagreeing on something, if you don't think I add value to your life, then why should I beg for you to stay in my life? And this is actually another funny story. So, one of my closest friends, I've been friends with this kid since middle school. Back in 2016, he voted for Hillary. But the thing that is this is my friend. He comes from a blue collar family, and his entire family, for some reason, thought that, you know, they think that the Democrat Party of Kennedy is the same Democrat Party that it is today. And it's not. Right? But in 2016, that was his thinking. So, when Trump won, he called me up and he was super pissed. And keep in mind, we had been friends since like, middle school. So at that point, it was like 12 years or something. We've been friends for like 15 years now. But, even so, it was a long time, even back in 2016. And he called me up and he was like, I just don't understand how you could vote for Trump. So I told him my reasons, and he did the whole thing of, well, Trump is just such a mean and divisive guy, and then he did the whole thing of, I'm not sure we can be friends anymore, Sam. And I think what he was expecting me to do was to say, oh God, no, please, you're my best friend. We've been through so much together. Please don't, cut me off or something like that. I think he was expecting that, right? But what I said to him was, I said, wow. I said, we've been friends since the 6th grade. We talk every single day. And now you want to cut me off because we have, disagreements about the President of the United States who hasn't even been in office a full month yet. And I said, look, I said, if you cut me off, I won't lie, I'll be sad about it. But no, it's your decision, not mine. And, if you want to end our friendship of 12 years, well, it's been a good run. But, if it's time to move on, it's time to move on. I wish you the best of luck. And, the ball's in your court. Where we go from here. Well, he was not expecting that. So, he called me back, 2 or 3 days later and was like, hey man, you're right. That's kind of stupid. We'll just agree to disagree. And I'm like, okay, well, cool then. That's awesome. So fast forward to 2018. Actually, no. Now that I remember that, now that I'm remembering this, fast forward to just 6 months. Right, my friend, like I said, my friend is a guy who is, he's blue collar, but he's also a white guy. And the other thing too is my friend, he grew up in some pretty rough situations too. Um, he lived in foster care for a bit. Um, he had a juvenile. He went to juvie a few times for like minor offenses. Like he never like did anything bad, like seriously harmed someone, but he had some struggles, right? So and I'll bring up, I'll, I'll explain why I bring that up in a sec. So, my friend is working out at the airport in Colorado, D, at DIA, and he's managed to get a position as a security guard. Not TSA, but with airport security. And so he's doing his thing, and one of his um, one of his coworkers, who is black, I guess, says to him something along the lines of, "Well, you only got this job because of your white privilege, right?" And so my friend starts telling this guy about all the shit he's been through. And he says, "You still want to claim I have white privilege?" And so, from what I understand, now I didn't see this. This is my friend telling me this story. From what I understand, the black guy punches my friend, assaults him, and starts wailing on him. So my friend basically gets into a fight with this other guy in self defense, and he ends up like knocking the other guy out. But it's in self defense, and I guess people, saw. So my friend actually surprisingly got out of the whole thing relatively unscathed, and he was able to keep his job, right? But one of the other things that I guess the like my friend was really kind of like shaken up as to why he was being like profiled as a racist and whatnot. So he started doing all this like research into what like Black Lives Matter was, and all this stuff with like white privilege and cultural appropriation and all those buzzwords. And he realized pretty quickly that the left is no longer, that the Democrat Party of JFK, the one that he thought he was part of, is no longer around. And he actually discovered the hard way that the hard left is the hard left. So he went from being, a relatively low information default Democrat to being a conservative. And he actually called me, and told me that story and was like, "Dude, I get it. I get what you go through now as a conservative. I get why you do your show." And so then once he came out as a conservative, and he had also started going to church too, a little bit prior to becoming a conservative, he had given his life over to Christ. And I guess people started kind of canceling him out of their life for that as well. So between the two, he started losing friends, or people that he thought were friends. So it's interesting because he kind of came, I guess, he came around, and he kind of came full circle in a sense. So, and I'm not trying to say that I'm a great friend, although I think I am, but he realized that, I and a handful of other people were still there for him, regardless of all this. So, why do I bring them up? Why do I tell you that story? Because we're going through something similar right now. The left is so desperate for, uh, you know, Biden to be president, and now they want people to come together after telling, friends and family members, fuck you for the last 4 years. And if they've disowned you, don't let them don't let them take you back because they want to. I mean, I would say screw them if they haven't talked to you in like 4 years because of Trump. But if they're actually like genuine about it, well, if they were genuine, they wouldn't have done it in the first place. So what the hell am I talking about? But um, you know, don't let politics be divisive on your end as much as you can. And, you know, don't let others who cut you off affect you, right? Find those who are close to you for you, regardless of politics. And, don't be a jerk. Be decent to everyone as much as you can. But there's no need to placate people now because Biden is the president of the United States. That is insane. It literally is insane in my book. All right, let me see who all is in the chat. Hey, I see Mirai is in the chat, which you know. Hey, John, haven't seen you in a while. Sammy live. Well, the sun is out. Yeah, I know, big surprise, right? Well, like I said, Mirai, I've been busy with school and whatnot, so I really. This is the first time in a couple days that I've had to say anything about the election. And to be honest, I've kind of been like semi-depressed about it, but talking to you guys has actually really helped. So, yeah. Also, Nira, you hit the nail on the head. Some people can't accept that they've been wrong because they are still too emotional. I mean that's fair, but that argument only holds. That's fair, and I get where you're coming from, but see, this is the other thing that kind of drives me crazy. Is there's this notion out there that conservatives are not emotional people. And that's not true. I am I'm a logical person, yes, but I am also a deeply emotional person in a good sense. Meaning that when I connect with someone, even with the people that I've met on, that I've met online long term, like you, Nirai, um, you know, with my close friends and my, close family members, I do feel like bonds are formed, and I like when you become like an actual friend of mine. I have several people who are, really good acquaintances. But if you become my friend, I'm one of those friends who will, you know, have your back no matter what. Unless you pull an Eric Nimmer or something like that. That's the other thing is I am loyal to my friends and to my family, but I'd also like to think that I'm not loyal to a fault. But that's a whole nother thing for another time. Um, well, Sierra says, speak for yourself, Sam. Well, Sierra, Sierra, you are a robot and you are artificial intelligence. So you're a computer. Emotion emotion isn't even a concept to you. So you know I don't really blame you for saying for yourself because you don't under you're either a computer or you're either a Vulcan from Star Trek where you just don't express emotion. But anyway, I'm kind of getting off topic here, believe it or not. My point being, folks, is I think that Trump could still very well be president, and I think there is a strong possibility for that. I do. But I'm also not under the illusion that Biden is probably going to be the president of the United States. And I'm not going to let that ruin my life. One thing I will say, one thing I think that a lot of Trump supporters did get wrong this go around is I feel like a lot of them were a little too overconfident that Trump was going to win this thing and win it by a landslide, right? I was under no illusions that this was going to be close. I knew that this election was going to be close because believe me, as passionate as I am about supporting the president, the current president, I also know that Trump's derangement syndrome is very strong. I know that there are a lot of people who despise Trump and like his policies or not. There are people who are emotional about Trump, and there were people who are going to vote Biden just to make sure that he didn't get a second term. And I know that because that was the motivation for a lot of people in 2016 voting for Trump to make sure that Hillary wasn't president. That was kind of my impetus at first. Trump wasn't my initial guy in 2016. But once he became the nominee, I jumped on, the Trump train and got my MAGA hat and went full MAGA for no other reason than just to rub it in the face of Hillary supporters. And look, I know that it's bad. I know that Biden isn't a great president-elect. He's certainly not my choice. But I will say this, I still think that 2016 was the more important election because it pushed Hillary out of the White House once and for all. So I still consider, a Trump presidency a victory for no other reason than it kept Hillary out of the White House. Thank God. With that being said, Kamala and these new, AOC and the new radicals on the left, you know, I don't really know what to think of all of them other than they're scary. Biden Biden's China connection weirds me out, but Biden is also kind of an old school. Let me put it this way. I don't like Biden, and I'm unnerved by the fact that he might become president, but I'm not kept up at night by the prospect of a Biden presidency like I was in 2016 with the prospect of a Clinton presidency. Because we all know deep down, and yes, even the Democrats here, they have to admit, you guys, that Hillary Clinton had Vince Foster whacked. You know that she intimidated Bill's, victims. You know that, Biden might be a bagman. Biden might be a bagman for China, and that's bad in and of itself. Don't get me wrong. But I don't see Biden as inherently evil. I see Hillary as inherently evil, but I see Biden as more of a bagman for foreign nations. Right? Not saying that's good, but if one term is all that Trump, got, I'm still okay with that because it was better than nothing. And the other thing is, the MAGA movement is not going away. Right? This is another thing. And I said this way back when I was in high school, when the show was called The Whitfield Analysis, but one of the big mistakes with the Republicans nominating Mitt Romney in 2012 was that they thought that if they nominated Mitt Romney and he won, we were going to go back to the good old days of George W. Bush, of the Bush era GOP, of those guys. We were going to go back to Bush era conservatism. It was going to be great. Everything was going to be grand. And it would undo everything Obama did. Well, here's the thing, folks. Obama, when he became president, changed the political landscape forever. And the Democrat Party and the left became Barack Obama's Democrat Party and Barack Obama's left, if that makes sense. Trump has done the same thing with the conservative movement, in a sense. We're not going back to the old GOP to the old, GOP ways, which I think is good. But Trump has changed the landscape of conservatism forever. And even the never-Trumpers have to admit that now. So even if Trump doesn't end up being president, he's still going to be around. And even if he dies, in the next, 5 to 10 years, not saying he should, but, the man is 70-something. He's lived a hard life, and, I mean, you just don't know. Even if he goes, I guarantee you that, Don Jr. and, basically the Trump kids, they're going to have influence. And people also joke about, Barron Trump, he's only 14, but, he'll probably be, running for office. It's kind of like a meme, Barron running at this point, but, I'll probably be like, what, in my 40s? 50s? That kid could run for president by the time I'm in a nursing home or something. By the time I have kids of my own. Don't discount the Trump clan, any of them. And don't discount any of the other people who have come out. Alan Powell says Ted Cruz 2024. Yeah, well, people have asked me that. Run for president, Sam? I mean, listen. When I was a kid, I wanted to be president of the United States. Right? Like a lot of other, kids do at like age 10 or whatever, right? But then once I got, more into like actually what politics was, once I was a teenager, especially, in my 20s, I was like, holy shit, being president is a stressful job, no matter who, is in office. I think I'd much rather prefer sticking into doing my podcast and talking to people online. But with that being said, I will say what Donald Trump said on Oprah in 1987, which is, if things really got bad enough. Actually, you know what? Why am I I've got capability to play the video, so let me find this if it's still up on YouTube. They might have pulled it by now. I know people have probably seen this, but it's okay. This is interesting. Wow, Oprah actually kept this up. That's kind of impressive. All right. Oprah asks a 42-year-old Trump if he'd run for president. Wow. In 1988, Oprah asked Donald Trump about a potential presidential ambition. His answer, blah, blah, blah.
In less than 24 hours, Donald Trump will take part in his first presidential primary debate. In 1988, Oprah Winfrey asked the 42-year-old at that time, Donald Trump, about potential presidential ambitions. Take a look at this.
Would you ever?
Probably not, but I do get tired of seeing the country ripped off.
Why would you not?
I just don't think I really have the inclination to do it. I love what I'm doing. I really like it.
Also, it doesn't pay as well.
No, it doesn't. But, you know, I just probably wouldn't do it, Oprah. I probably wouldn't, but I do get tired of seeing what's happening with this country. And if it got so bad, I would never want to rule it out totally, because I really am tired of seeing what's happening with this country, how we're really making other people live like kings, and we're not. We're not.
Back with Sam, Vanessa, Anderson, Lisa, and Andy. Trump now.
All right, so yeah, I like you, Dr. Drew, but yeah. Anyway, though, I just wanted to play that clip for you guys because that is essentially my answer. I don't think I would want to do it, but if I felt compelled to do it, and people have said I should run, so you know, it could be in the cards, but also if that were the case, then I think we would need to get rid of all of the we would need to get rid of all of the Danger Zone 8-hour hate streams, because I'm pretty sure that, well, we would also have to get rid of half the show catalog for the Whitfield report. You know, I'm pretty sure that I've done enough like shock things on here on the show that would, you know, be problematic. Then again, you know, Trump did say grab him by the pussy, and he did fuck porn stars, and you know, he still managed to get elected the first time, so who knows? Who knows anymore? It would be hilarious if it would be hilarious if I ran and the whole Danger Zone saga, you know, became like an actual, you know, national news story type thing. That would be funny as hell. You know, so am I ruling it out? No. But like I said, we'll wait and see. Well, Dictator Phil, I mean, we do need, well, that's why you're here. That's why you're here, Phil. See, here's the thing. If I became president, I would put Dictator Phil and Jolly Rogers, Bilgewater, two of the most ruthless, you know, people I know, in charge of the whole entire military. Oh, shut up, Brew. You know what I meant. It would be hilarious if I ran there too. Good one, Brew. But anyway, yeah, I love the chat. Oh yeah, the sinister small. Yeah, you would get lots of that. You would get lots of those. So, well, with the way things are going, in my life too, folks, I would probably be like the first bachelor president as well. I don't know. It's fun to throw around hypotheticals. So, anyway, I don't want to keep this stream going for too long because I know that, E Scorpio wants to, premiere his, interview with, Brandon Crick. So I'll wrap this up here shortly. However, something cool happened last night that I know some of you guys have seen, um, because I posted it on the channel, but others of you might have not. So last night, um, I I was surfing on YouTube as I am wont to do before I go to bed, and I actually saw that Tim Pool had on Alex Jones and Michael Mellis on his podcast last night. Now I know people think that Tim Pool is a grifter and whatnot, and same with Michael Mellis. But I've actually met Michael Mellis before at YellowCon, and I will say this: Michael Mellis is he's a bit of a let's just say he's a unique character, but I don't know. There are certain aspects of him that I kind of like, like how he's a troll. Um, and then I think Alex Jones is hilarious, and has actually turned out to be right about a lot of things. And to be fair to Tim Pool, I think Tim himself can be a little wishy-washy at times, but he does seem to be a pretty good interviewer, so I do like Timcast IRL for that purpose. But anyway, he had Tim Pool, Tim Pool had on Tim Pool, and then he had Alex Jones and Michael Malice on, and they got about like 5,000 super chats last night, so they weren't able to read all of them, but I did send them a super chat, not expecting to get it read on air. And then, well, ladies and gentlemen, this happened. Well, let me pull it up.
Where else?
Or malice.
No, I'm just saying we built our own thing.
That's true. They did, yeah.
Sam Whitfield says Alex Jones, Michael Malice, and Tim Pool, 3 of my favorites, all together on the same podcast. Thank you so much for the early Christmas present. God bless you all.
It's Hanukkah, thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, come on.
By the way, I'm going to rip this off and have a floating plant cam.
It's amazing.
Just on YouTube.
But have
By the way, Michael's line about it's Hanukkah. By the way, I think he might have actually. I don't know if that was because he recognized me, but when I met him, it was Christmas, and so I wished him a Merry Christmas at the time that I bumped into him at some convention a few years ago, and he said the same thing to me. It's Hanukkah, by the way. So, nice little throwback there. And then Alex Jones with the whole floating camera thing, pretty funny. But anyway, I know it's a short clip, and yes, I do know that, technically it's a super chat and technically I paid for it, but still, like, Tim got so many last night that he was skipping over a bunch of them, so I still got shouted out, so I got my super chat read, so that's pretty cool, I guess. But then again, I'm relatively easy to please. So Bruce Edison said his cut fades are irritating. Yeah, they kind of are. Yeah, they kind of are. I mean, I To be fair, Brew, Ecamm, the software I use, used to have like a really, this software I use right now used to have a really bad crossfade thing too. So I actually had to go in and like actually, change some settings on the transitions for this thing so it wouldn't crossfade as bad, because when I say it was bad, it was bad. But anyway, well, like I said, I don't want to, take too long. But I just wanted to share a couple things with you guys. Let you guys know that I am doing okay. Like I said, I've been a little stressed out with school. But, I'm hanging in there. And I'll try and pop into the Discords at least more today if I can. But, just pray for me, and, I know a lot of you guys do, but thanks for your guys' support anyway. And just thanks for being awesome. Gamma Hug Box tonight, hopefully. And like I said, eScorpo should be premiering his video in a little bit. Sorry to, Scorp, if you're watching this, I'm sorry to delay you a bit. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you for tuning in to this, kind of impromptu Friday afternoon stream. And, folks, just thank you for tuning in. God bless. God save this great nation. God, freedom, I can see in that order. And I will see you guys later tonight for the Gamma Hug Box, and tomorrow for the Whitfield Report Saturday edition. God bless.
Thank you to Chris Franklin for these lyrics. The world has caught a virus, so I've written you